This is the time, brothers and sisters, that we need to come together in justice more than ever in the time of history of America. Cannot you see that they have planned all these strikes against humanity across the world? Not just in USA, not just in Israel, not just in China, not just in Brazil or Canada or Russia or Hurricane, but everywhere they planned these things purposely to bring down humanity. As I told you in the past, these last months, I've told you that there's higher darknesses of deaths of evil, okay? And that's what President Reagan would say. And some people don't even know, even Davos and the high people, they don't know that there's higher deaths to tables that control everything. So I've told you this before. These happenings in humanity are all pre-planned because they wanted to make a one-world government. The UN, the World Health Control, the World Economic Control. There's about 7 or 10 of them that are very strategic and I would use the word so vulgar that it's sickening that they use human testing and control to take away the human life. And also it's atrocity to what life really is. And they were once a child and they didn't even think about the children. They want to control the children. How do they think they learned? And not all of them are from wealthy families. How do they think they learned? They had good understanding, good teaching, good studies. These people that control the world. We need to all speak up, but all work in action of justice in all our work. We need to work in justice of our work. We need to forgive each other, but at the same time we need to reconcile and do restitution. And the thing is, I'm here in Arizona. I'm going to the next state. I'm called to go next state. I was called to tell them there's 10 facilities in Arizona that they're doing human trafficking and human atrocities, the greatest, the worst ever. And they found one. That's what they said on the news, and I'm sure it's true, that body parts. They use body parts, and they were all disarranged. They were not connected to the body, so they sell them. It's terrible. It was on 24th Street in Phoenix. In the most beautiful places as that, you could have those problems. It's so terrible that these things have happened. But we ask, why did these things happen? How do we correct it? We ask, and what we know the news, okay, correct. We know most of the things happening, but how do we correct to make more justice? The first thing, as a Judeo-Christian nation, we have to love God with all our heart and soul, and try to seek to love our neighbor. I know this is difficult, but it's possible to change and develop and redevelop relationships, because we're forced to do this to save our legacy and our children. So how do we do that? That's the first thing. We all need to go into prayer. All of us have gifts. I don't really know this, but Sid, S-I-D, is a famous man on TV, like a newscaster. He has a special show where he shows miracles that people have had, spiritual miracles. He interviewed this one man that he saw gifts up in the shelf of heaven, that many people have gifts that they haven't opened yet. And I've had that. I had that. It's in my writings. I had many spiritual experiences, but that's one of them I had, but I was never interviewed. So there are so many gifts that we have, each one of us. We need to pray and ask God to help us with our gifts so we could bring justice. That's first thing. And then we need to seek to hire people that are leaders in the community and businesses that have high integrity and put children first, family first, and what it is to be human, a man and a woman. And those are the first things. Is the first thing is to love God with all your heart, but then just getting and swiftly making solutions. We need to protect our borders. The walls should be built around all open borders right away, as fast as you can, because when the borders come in, there's different things, entities that come in from crimes at all different levels. Why do we do the security check in the airplane in our suitcases, correct? Why do we lock our doors? Why do we have beautiful policemen? I fund the police, okay? Okay? Why do we have a beautiful military? To protect our country, correct? The borders are all open, and they've been open. And so we need to rapidly build the borders. And Biden said he's going to build them, but that's not true. He just said that. That's what I heard from many people. He just said that because he wants to get a better vote. But now these beautiful immigrants came in, and some of them, are criminals. Some of them are not. Some of them are forced and were paid here to come here to start trouble. And to go to Chicago. Many of them to go to Chicago to have those marches against the war with Israel and Palestine. That's only one of the reasons. Other reasons is maybe they're going to have war, within our country. Maybe they also want to bring our country down. They want us to be responsible for all the costs. We have our homeless that we need to take care of, and the children and the peoples that need a home because of the lockdowns they caused. So they caused, first, I'll swiftly say, these are the things they caused to recollect your memory, but they're all simultaneously very stealthily, very swiftly, very trickery, one after the other to bring the whole humanity down. And they want America to be a third world country, but it's not going to be. We need to assess all those immigrants, okay? We need to decide what we're going to do with the criminals, and we need to assess those immigrants as much as we can. And we need to put penalties and tax penalties on the billionaires and their leaders that allowed the immigrants to come here. And we can, because the billionaires caused this.
Please review the safety card in the seat pocket. You may need to open the exit in an emergency.
And we need a safety card, correct?
Let a flight attendant know if you are unwilling to operate the exit.
I'm on the airplane. That's right. We put our seatbelts on, correct? We have directions for a safety seat. If there's a crash, we have a crash in America. Our airplane, our wings and our body of America has a big crash, and we need restoration. We need to vote in freedom. We need to vote in Trump, America first. We need to vote in integrity, and we need to vote in truth, in good, fair business. We need to realize that the BRICS, they're not exchanging the dollars anymore. We'll be fine if we put stipulations on taxes and penalties on all the immigrants they brought in and how they're going to use them. They say they're going to use them for the military, own military. But we need to respect each other and respect the immigrants also.
The 440 door has now been shut. Please stow away from all large electronic devices.
That's right. We better shut that door. We better shut the door of our borders. Do no one talks about there's 100,000, more than 100,000 died of fentanyl. That's a silent war. That's a silent war on our country. So first it was that they wanted to make a socialized country under Obama. Then, and before that, there's Bush, the 9/11, and the Iraq. This isn't a new problem. These have been problems, but they're trying to tear us down one year after the next. Then they took away our vote, and President Trump won. Okay, he won. Okay, but they would have a revolution if they tried to put him back in. I thought they should have put him back in. Then they did conspiracy against the freedom fighters and lay people such as myself and him and other people to try to bring them down. Then they had the CCB virus that was made in the lab. And I said before, you can look at my work. I'm a science and philosopher. I said that was made in the lab, right? A month after or sooner. It's not funny. Then the CCP vaccination, I proved why there shouldn't have been vaccinations by simple science of the inflammation of the cell. When there's any inflammation of the cell and there was infertility, that causes disease. But I already knew because I pray and I hear. Okay? Politicians, they usually pray and God speaks to them. Whether they hear, He directs their hands and their heart. Then they had the lockdowns purposely, and I begged them in California not to have the lockdowns because I showed in statistics most people that died were 75 years and older, and they were inside the house or inside a sanitarium, a retirement home. I begged and begged, and Newsom said he made a mistake. I begged and asked. Then they allow all those abortions We have the highest abortions in the world. We're Judeo-Christian nation. That's paganism. You know why? Because they want to use the babies. That showed in Pfizer was using the babies for scientific tests. That's another thing they do. Okay? Then also, then with the economy, he stopped the oil right away. That was the worst thing, the energy. That's what brought the oil down. When we mine our oil, it will be less on inflation. And it's not funny. He stopped the key zoning. He stopped that. Not Biden, because he's really not the president. He's controlled by others. And then he tried to write up leases, I heard. So the people that wrote the leases, you know, they weren't experienced, so they lost money on the leases. When they tried to write leases to mine oil, wasn't a good transaction. And I understand that. Then he should have got the man that knows how to write the leases. And then he also lost money because usually you get some money off some scraps of the oil. He also let that go, you know. So, and then we had the lockdowns. It's so terrible. We need to get going. We need to back up. Now we're backing up in the plane. We need to back up and clean things up and work together. We know what to do now. We know that we need to bring our country back. We need to bring our manufacturing back, our pharmaceuticals back. We need to go each state, what manufacturing could be developed in our small and large businesses. And BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, they need to be asked to bring monies back to the people, to bring homes and life back to the people. Because in this war that they have from Hurricane in Russia, that was planned also to make money and also do with Holocaust. And same thing with Israel and Palestine. That was to make money, to filter money through, to get money and then bring it back to BlackRock. It should be a rule and regulation and a law that these people, BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, have to give a tax, be taxed to help the people and make formations to develop the people and restore our country again.
American Airlines flight. On its way to
We could do this because in 10 to 30 years, if they hold on to their money, there's going to be another country that's going to take them over. And you know what? They should be ashamed if they right now, because you know why? They should have been giving money right away and helping the homeless and building homes. They're not all mental health, and they throw drugs in there to try to bring them down.
And your tray table is stowed.
That's right. We need to get on the table right now and open up that table and see how we can make negotiations with Russia and Hurricane and trade and deliver. We need to open that table up for Palestine and Israel and how we can mediate. The God of Abraham is very upset in Iran. Iran supports now Russia. Okay? It's terrible. And in Saudi Arabia, they're both supporting the Palestinians. And I understand both have problems. They both have violence. But by doing violence is not going to solve the problem. There needs to be peace. And you need to teach the children peace. And you better fasten your seatbelt. You know what fastening the seatbelt is? It's fastening with the belt of truth.
To open your seatbelt,
you know it's in Psalms. You know it's in Ephesians.
Hi, ma'am. Whenever your seat in case of unexpected turbulence.
Yes.
U.S. law requires compliance with lighted and posted signs and